I might be away hiding in a nondescript location, but that doesn't stop iRacing from dropping huge news. And I know you guys don't love reading these long blog posts, even if there is a ton of really cool content in it. So let's get right to the TLDR. Alright, here's the big long post here, and here are the highlights. So the first few paragraphs, they just talk about the state of the company, but the big thing that I take from it is them just confirming yet again that all of the teams are completely separate for different games. Even though they're under the same roof, iRacing is a different dev team than NASCAR 25, which is a different dev team than Exocross. So I don't think that NASCAR 25 will be as much of an iRacing-like experience as some people may think, or maybe even hope to. I think it'll be closer to a NASCAR heat in terms of driving, but the resources that iRacing has, I still think is going to make this a really good NASCAR game. As we keep going, we see all of the people that they've started to acquire. iRacing's been trying to get more and more talent in certain areas, especially ones where they've historically been lacking. So the first one here is really huge. Hopefully it's huge at least. Multiplayer and networking. So they hired somebody from a competitor who was working essentially with netcode. So improving iRacing's netcode, maybe adding certain things that are good in other games, I think that is a huge potential for improving iRacing, which is awesome. They also have a similar person for the role in AI and just overall sim racing software engineering and graphics. So you see iRacing adding all of these personnel changes over the past few seasons. I really think they're trying to make a big go of just seeing the competitors start to catch up in terms of popularity, and they're just trying to say, no, we are going to become the best. So hopefully they get there. From my perspective, maybe it's good to have competition, but hey, on the oval side, it's no competition anyways. So as long as we get an improved experience, I'm all happy for it. Next, we're on to the content, and they're adding a lot of tracks that I have actually done videos about in like the past year or two. This first one, Cadwell Park, they're actually going over into Europe and UK for a lot of these tracks. And what's cool here is they already have a lot of the renders, so this is really nice. So you can see some of the textures here, and it looks like they're already almost done, so it looks like it's going to ship around season 4 hopefully. Looks like, yeah, they already have it planned for season 4. So along with that, they have to be released as Thruxton and Croft. If you remember from one of my videos, iRacing apparently has already scanned these tracks, and with that, it was a long time ago and they never really released it, so it looks like they went back and redid it, which makes sense. And they say are 6 other UK based locations, so they did a big trip over to the UK, scanning, rescanning. Going to be a lot to come out of that, but I think that the most popular thing here is going to be the updates to Spa. Anywhere you go, you see people racing Spa. I think with a lot of the newer tracks, they kind of fall to the wayside pretty quickly, but having a graphical update to one of the most popular tracks in the game, I think does an automatic upgrade in having iRacing being compared to other games, especially when you see those memes about people playing really bad graphics in iRacing, good graphics in Assetto Corsa, so on. I think having these upgrades on these popular tracks is just a great move for iRacing because of just the amount that it gets used. But not just tracks, there are tons of cars being released as well, all different types, well at least road and oval. We see here a GT4 car with the BMW M4. Render already looks good, but one funny note that they say here is that the headlights aren't going to be correct when it relaunches because they weren't able to get them in time. So that might be a little goofy looking at first, but I think it'll still be very popular. And then the other car that made a lot of buzz is going to be this McLaren 720S GT3 Evo from the 2023 season, and it already looks spectacular in the render. I know that's going to be extremely popular. Finally, a brand new car, not just a new manufacturer, but we have an oval car, the Mini Stock. This is really interesting because it's going to be a rookie car. It's going to have a rookie series and a D-Class series, and these cars are going to be for all those really tiny tracks where I've always wondered what goes on them, like Nashville Mini or all the really tiny Legends ovals. I guess this car is its use case for it now, but you can still drive it on short tracks and stuff. I think it's going to be very popular because for these rookie cars, the easier a car is to drive, the more popular it is, and you can't get much easier than this outside of like a Bandolero or something like that. There's also some minor upgrades over here talking about rain. Always going to be some tweaking with that weather system since it's pretty huge and it took a while to do. But this big thing I want to talk about here is the qualifying visibility. So in real life, people can see their competitors qualifying. Well, why can't we see that on iRacing? It's mainly been because of track states. Every driver is driving on their own track state during qualifying, and because of that, you can't really flip between anyone in the replay, unless you're a spectator at least. But iRacing is now going to allow everybody to see everybody qualify, and that's going to be really good for just allowing people to see what lines people are taking for qualifying. and I think that it'll actually help people improve, give somebody a reference, and I think that's just overall beneficial for everyone. Like, if you're hiding stuff for qualifying, that's kind of lame to begin with, you know what I mean? So I think that this system is going to be overall a huge improvement. Also, they haven't completely forgotten about our friends over at Dirt Oval yet. They are still working on that oval refresh system. I know that hasn't been hugely popular for the Dirt Oval guys, but they're still trying to tweak it. They haven't given up on it or anything like that, so hopefully they see some results there. It looks like iRacing is also trying to do something about the BOPs and multi-class splits, just trying to get races with entry lists more akin to real life than sometimes the wonky all one car, one class, or one manufacturer list that you get in iRacing. Sometimes not too knowledgeable on that side of the road thing, but I think that what they're doing there, I think a lot of people would agree with. Some quality of life updates. It looks like you can do an AI race just instantly through a combination to almost practice for the officials. Very good idea. I recommend a lot of people to do those before they're comfortable jumping into a race. But just remember, if you're able to get around the track and not be a hazard for everyone, just do the real race. I think that's going to be more beneficial than AI, but this is still a great option to practice with. And all of that I've talked about so far, that's Season 4. That's the next update. That's a pretty big update. Not as huge as maybe the rain update was at the beginning of the year, but it's still pretty big. What we have here, though, is their projects going into the future. So they're working on their tires and physics a lot still. No shock to anybody. It seems like that's something they're always working on, is their core physics engine. So they have what they say here is a prototype for a force feedback calibration process for hardware so they can optimally use it for the sim. They're working on that, and then also future tire contact patch model. Some people think we're on V7, but iRacing has just stopped numbering them. We're way up there now. Graphics engine update. I'll just let this run for a little bit. You can see for yourself the updates that they're trying to make. It's pretty cool. They're working on all this stuff. And they're also working on making a new sim UI. So if you look at really old videos at iRacing, honestly, the UI from 2008 looks fairly similar to how it does now. So I see their need to want to redo everything. My fear is that they change everything so much that it's just going to be a nightmare to navigate around for the first while. So hopefully they do it in a way where it's navigable right away for us who have been using this for over a decade, but I can see why they'd want to upgrade it. It does look a little bit dated, especially compared to some of the newer games. And then upgrades and future content. There is a lot of stuff to be had. You can see that there are certain tracks that are getting scanned. So at The Bend, so they're doing an Australian trip. They already talked about Croft and Thruxton. Looks like Valencia is under contract. There's something about, I'm going to have to start pronouncing tracks I've never heard of before, but Circuit Assen, but we'll see if that happens. And then our scan team has made stops at several NASCAR tracks for up-to-date data. So there's going to be a lot of NASCAR track updates, especially the older ones. Huset Speedway, I think that's a dirt track. And then there's also another track for dirt road that's being developed, so that's pretty cool. And then more cars, GT3 cars. It's like we don't have enough GT3 cars in iRacing, but hey, I mean, if people like them and it'll just add to it, sure. New supercars just barely missed the Season 4 build, so I guess we're going to expect that for Season 1 of next year. And then total overhaul of the Legends physics model. So that's going to be interesting because that's a rookie series. You see those in Dirt as well. I know that the Dirt Legends have like no one running them, so maybe that'll help a little bit. But I think that they're more doing this towards the oval thing. And then in real life, you see Legends frequently at road tracks. So maybe they're going to look into doing some sort of road rookie series with this, hopefully. Maybe they're going to force that. We'll see. And then the big ticket thing, the clickbait I got you in here with, the ARCA car is at long last going bye-bye, which it's a long time coming, right? This car hasn't been raced in real life in years and years at this point. And honestly, I could hope in the back of my head that the new ARCA car is just the different body with the same handling ARCA, but I know that the real life ARCA cars handle so much different to how ARCA is in iRacing. So I think it's more of a smile because it happened moment, because we've had this ARCA car and it's been so good and we've all loved it so much. It's my favorite car, but you know, all good things have to come to an end. And so it looks like they're getting a proper Gen 4 car release as well. So really up to date, but really just a Gen 4 body that they got from, I think Dale gave it to them, and it'll be a really good scan. And hopefully those cars will handle just like the Gen 4 car does now. That's my hope. I don't know why it wouldn't personally, but that's what I'm hoping it goes towards. And then finally, what would a 2024 update in any sort of tech be without AI? So they're working on generative AI and machine learning to do something. It always does something, right? But what I'm more interested in is the Oval Refresh Phase 2. Looks like they're still working on it. Honestly, I've kind of forgot about the Oval Refresh Phase 1. It made some difference, but it wasn't as like huge as some people thought it would be going into it, which kind of makes sense because there's a Phase 2. So we'll see if that keeps taking it. And then finally, the DDoS attacks. That's right. There was a lot of DDoS attacks against iRacing, and they've touched on that briefly here. And it looks like it's been, for the most part, sorted out, and the operations people did a really good job with it. So shout out to them. And then that looks like that's all they got. We got some pictures here. Look at that, the new graphics for some of these here. And then you got the curbs, the new curb system. I think they're gonna physically model them. So that's really good too. And then some of the pictures we saw up there. Let me know what you're looking forward to most in iRacing in the next season. But other than that, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.